Alright, Gomer, we're back. So as you can see, I got that sausage roll on there. Okay, it's that sausage pouch. I got it on there. I got things in there from the last video I talked about. I got my basha, right, my tarp. I've got my shooter's mat, aka outdoors chair, aka sleeping mat, etc. So that's a multi-use item. We try to use multi-use items, okay? So I got that. So I got my Marine Corps tarp folded up. That's modified it on the corners with the webbing and whatnot. So I got that folded up a certain way, and I got that in the center. And then I oriented my taco, which is the mat with the stuffing, okay, in a certain way with a seam on that sausage roll, okay. And I've got a heavy duty contractor bag on the inside. You guys I showed you how to waterproof that. Alright, and then once I got that in there, then I went ahead and stuffed the end over here where the opening is. I stuffed that in with my poncho liner, which I'll use for sleeping. Alright, and I went ahead and attached it to the frame of the medium Alice rucksack. Alright, so I got that on there. Everything's waterproof down there. This end is secured. Okay. Found some light machine gun pouches earlier digging around. I may integrate these some way or another, right? So I got that on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it off, show you how to put it on. Alright. So as you can see, a medium Alice rucksack is a very scalable ruck. It's very scalable. Alright, as you can see, you got these olive greens. I didn't have any woodland, but I put these olive green shoulder harness straps on here, and then I secure off the bitter ends with some electrical tape. Right. We use electrical tape for a lot of little things, okay? Securing items stuff. These are special little loops used for radio, you know, for your handset or whatever you want to use those for, right? And I made this green and coyote brown, right, directly to the frame, okay? That's the way you want it. You don't want it on the ruck, the bag, you don't want it there. I saw that on the Malice. They had one directly on the bag. I don't like that. I want that directly on the frame. The only way you want to use that on the pack is if you didn't have a frame. But a Malice pack has a frame. Alright? Okay, so what else we got going on here? We got the radio pouch. That's the Molly 2 radio pouch. I showed you how to secure it with the cords and the straps. Alright, so we got the straps that basically put it to the frame. Alright, and then we could go ahead and draw the straps up as tight as we want after we get our kit in there. Alright, and we can ladder lock them off, and we can use a little electrical tape on those better ends too if we want. Now I got those already, they're down there and they're ready to go. I can put whatever I want in there. Alright, just take that there, stuff it up underneath. You could sew on buckles if you want. So how is this attached, by the way? So basically, I use a nice knot here. It goes up. You guys saw how I girth hitched up here, and I ran it around in an X pattern. Back down here. So there's the D-ring on each side of this bag, just like on your sustainment pouches. Okay, you see that D-ring over there? You see that? The sustainment pouch. So it goes through the D-ring. You don't knot the D-ring, you just run it through. Run it up here, run it down, run it through the D-ring, and then make a nice secure knot over here. Start out with a clove hitch, and then tighten it up real tight, and then tie out the ends. And then if you're going to leave it on there permanently, cut that bitter end of your paracord and then melt it so it can't come undone ever. Forever. Forever, right? Okay. So I've got my waist belt here with the kidney pad, and I've taken because right now I'm not using the belt itself. Then take it back the other way, and then, you know, secure it underneath the frame back in there. Use just some tape to secure it up, and so it doesn't make any rattling sounds. All right. Sound kills, especially you. Probably met weight requirement already, I would imagine. Alright. So this thing is secured to the frame and to the bottom of the rucksack. Alright, so it's all one unit there. There's nothing actually in the main body of the rucksack right now. Nothing in there. There will be. There's nothing in there right now. So, this type of a old school slider, right? The way you work that, normally these are two separate cords, just one there and one there. I don't like all that flopping around, so I knot the end and then I just pull it tight, and that's how you do it. You just pull it apart and it tightens up. Alright, and it's ready. That's all there is to it. And then all I'm going to do is take this. See how I only got this one secured in the center on that V2 pouch for my medical crap? That allows me to just throw stuff underneath. Also allows me to access this compartment on my Alice pack. Alright. So that's down there. Anyway. How much time do I got left? I am timing this video. I got about 5 minutes left. Alright, I'm going to throw this on its stomach there. Right? So let's have a look at this. Make sure I got you in the frame. We don't want to do this for nothing. Right? Okay. So here we are. Sort that out a bit. Alright. Okay. I did not do any of this stuff up because I knew I was going to take this back apart. Just for you. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to undo this. And then I'm going to undo this. Right. You'll notice these straps are going that way and not this way. Alright, because it makes it easier for me to secure them up in here, right? So that's why they're quote unquote upside down. Okay, so now this particular one, I just slide that off. This one I cannot slide off. Why? Because I have it secured to the bag, and the bag is secured to it. Okay, it's my backup, right? So this one goes through my cords, right? So remember I tied that off. All right, so I pulled it up tight, and I tied it off. All right, so now I take these two loops and I pass that through. Okay, pass it through, and then I'll go ahead and secure it up to that ladder lock buckle, equalize everything out, draw it up here, draw it up there, get it all sorted out, and then put some blah 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 into it, right? All the while making sure that my seam is up. Seam up. Alright? So, takes generally just a little bit of preparation. But once you've done this a few times, you'll be good. You won't have to think about it too much. Alright? So, I've got the bottom of my rucksack right there. I got this here. Now you'll notice these are crisscrossed in the center. Now that one is attached to that one. Why did I do that? It's just the way I've got it. Okay? You can do it however you want. But it makes it more of a unit. Okay? Makes it more of a unit. It's one unit. Alright, so this particular one is open-ended, so that I can go through that cord over there, and then this is closed right now. So I've got this closed. Gonna slide the end in there. All right, it'll find my seam. Okay, there's my seam. Just go ahead and center that there. Where's the seam? There's the seam. Okay, I got the seam there. Now I got, this is knotted so I can go through these, okay, and not worry about anything coming undone. Now I'm going to make sure that this is right. Okay, we don't want to like flip. We don't want to flip webbing, right? Want to make sure it's the right side up, right? So now I've got this here. Here's my seam. Here's my cordage. I'm just going to turn that just like that. I'm not going to worry about the cordage now. I've got it where I want it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I got the right side. I'm going to run it through my ladder lock. Come on, hands, work. Okay, so I got my ladder lock started there, and I've got everything going good over there. Now I'm just going to start pulling on this a little bit. Got about a minute left. Get her done. So I'm going to hold this for a second, because these are now talking to each other. They're connected, right? So I got to hold this one to pull this one. Now hold this one, pull this one. All right. You see what I'm saying here? Once they get tightened up a bit, you can do one and then the other. A little here, a little there. All right. All right, it's on there. So these two talk to each other. That means they're connected. It's one big crisscross. All right. Now these, you go ahead. If you're going to be a while before you take this thing off, you can go ahead and run that thing back through there. Before you start getting it too tight, stick that through there, and then that will lock that off. That's why it's called a ladder lock. Okay, ladder lock. I'm going to go ahead and undo this one real quick. Okay, we'll get that in there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. Alright, now as you can see, this is tightened up. Now the ladder locked it. Now it cannot sneak open. You understand what I'm saying? It can't loosen. Alright? Come back at you in another one. See you there.